You see, as a child, I had one role model, and that was mi abuelito, my grandfather, Don Daniel San Miguel. And he was a pharmacist, only he referred to himself as a boticario. He owned the Botica Guadalupana in San Antonio, Texas. And I remember with startling clarity the image of him preparing prescriptions and speaking to his patients in that calm, level tone about their medicinas. And I remember with pride and admiration the degree of respect given to him. For his job was a specialized one. He provided a solemn service for people that didn't have very much. And I can still feel that sense of purpose that just watching him gave me, and how I too could one day maybe achieve that position. You see, I wanted people to look at me like they looked at him, with respect. And I knew that one day too I would be able to help the people of my community. And so let me allow you to talk about the other equation to this marvelous pharmacy school. Irma Lerma Rangel's sister, Minnie Rangel Henderson, next to my grandfather, was the single greatest positive influence on me in terms of my becoming a successful pharmacy owner. In every sense of the word, she was my professional mentor. And as a pharmacist and small business owner, Minnie established herself by displaying that uncanny entrepreneurial state. I really admired her greatly, and I wanted to emulate her. I wanted to duplicate what she duplicated. You see, I said, she's a Latina, she owns a pharmacy, I'm a Latina, I could do that. And I did, with her encouragement. She put forth a strength in me that I didn't know that I even had, and led me to believe in myself, of course with her encouragement and counsel, particularly when I was ordering my first year shipment of winter antibiotics. And she showed me how I could run my pharmacy, still with the concept of patients first, but be profitable. And that's exactly what I did. And so today, in honor of Minnie, I want to share with you what I feel it means to be a pharmacist. Okay, so what does it mean to be a pharmacist? Well, it's true, we are experts in drugs and medications, subsequently used to treat chronic conditions and so much to prevent the human diseases. And it's true that we advise physicians and other healthcare professionals, and mainly our parents, on which prescriptions, over-the-counter medications, food, treatment modalities are appropriate for their health conditions. And it's true that we are teachers of our patients on how to properly take their medications. But that's just merely the mechanics. It's the mechanics of the skill set that we have. That's our vocation. But that's only the things we do. It does nothing to explain what it means to be a pharmacist. And as a pharmacist now for over 30 years, being a pharmacist means this. It means being wholly committed to promoting the health and welfare in each of your patients in a caring, compassionate, and confidential manner. It means that you recognize the autonomy, the dignity, and the individual self-worth of every one of your patients, and that you encourage them to directly participate in the decisions about their health. And while the primary obligation that you will have as pharmacists is to your patients, being a pharmacist also means recognizing that your service will extend beyond the individual to the community and even society as a whole. Given that the service that you will be providing meets that community need by serving its members individually when they most need it, it becomes clear, perhaps most of all, that being a pharmacist means that you are engaged in this wonderful occupation that fundamentally supports the health and wellness pillar of our modern society. It means that you are entering the profession whose purpose is firmly rooted and embedded in the pursuit of the best possible life, of a quality of life for the people, for the members of your community who will come to trust you. They will share with you their pain. They will share with you their hope for relief. They will tell you things they don't tell their physicians or even their family members. It is a profession whose impact resonates within many layers of our society. It is a profession whose significance is evident in longer life expectancies and quality of life. And it's the degree of trust that your patients will place in you. You're their health coach. But the day that I felt the most needed as a pharmacist had nothing to do with a prescription. Allow me to reflect. Several years ago, when I owned my own pharmacy, there was a young man who seemed troubled, and he was waiting and finally approached me and said, "Señora, ¿me puedes ayudar? Can you help me?" Well, it was one of those Mondays in the pharmacy. You know, the type where the phone's ringing and the prescriptions are adding up and every prescription has some sort of little thing on it. And we were full. And my first reflex was to say, "Can you come back?" And then I thought, why does he even have a prescription? But something in my gut told me to answer his plea. And so I left the prescription counter and went to where he was standing. And he said, "¿Me puedes ayudar?" And he handed me an envelope. I quickly realized that the envelope had the return address of the coroner's office. And as I looked in his eyes, he said, "¿Me puedes decir qué dice en esta carta para que yo pueda regresar a mi casa y decir a mi esposa, porque se murió mi hijo? Can you please tell me what's in this envelope so that I can go home and tell my wife why our son had died?" And at that moment, I felt more needed. Because of all the people in our community, he approached the pharmacist. He approached the white coat because he knew that I would understand the words and that I could tell him in a manner that he could then go home and explain to his wife. I have never felt more proud than to be a pharmacist on that day. And it's because of who the people we are. You see, my parents came of an age where there was a great conflict in this world. It was the greatest conflict the world had ever witnessed, and it was coming to a close. With over 400,000 Americans having been killed in World War II, every single part of our community was united and permanently impacted by this sense of a collective sacrifice. And with the end of this trying period, American families only wanted one thing. They wanted to commit themselves to the pursuit of stability, of comfort, of normalcy. And given the fact that just out of that war, we had experienced a Great Depression, and whose images were that of long soup lines and dusty-covered children in these rickety vehicles headed west, their desire is fully understandable. The goal of the Americans then, and that prior generation, my parents' generation, was simply to create a better life for their children. One that did not include being exposed to the horrors of combat or to being hungry. And so we are here today celebrating this because of the generations of Americans and Texans who have, year after year, answered the call to service. We are in this precious representative democracy and in this building because of their sacrifice. And so with the members who were in the Air Force, Army, Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard, a service member, both active duty, reservist, and National Guard, would you stand and allow us to thank you for the glory of this magnificent day through your sacrifice? Por favor, nuestros veteranos, let us thank you. Please stand, the members